All right, everybody, we're going to get going. Welcome. I'm David Burks. I'm the Director of Market Strategy at Expedient. We're very happy to be here today and helping along with the Tech Council to sponsor this great event. So before we bring up the speakers, just a little bit about Expedient. We are a privately held local company. We own and operate 11 data centers in 7 cities, primarily throughout the Midwest. What we are doing is through the data centers that we have, network access and managed services, we're bringing infrastructure as a service, cloud computing, disaster recovery as a service to all of our clients. What we are, the platform that we build off is really built upon 4 pillars of services that we're trying to bring to our clients. It's agility, it's availability of services. We have 100% SLA on all of our services. It's cost control, and it's risk mitigation. Everything that we do is to allow our customers to react faster to their market needs, their growth needs, and to provide them with a solid foundation of IT infrastructure so their services are always there and they're always up and running. So, with that being said, let's introduce our first speakers. The topic is Big Data by Starting Small, Making Pittsburgh the Model for a Smart City. We have from the City of Pittsburgh, Grant Ervin, Chief Resilience Officer, and Mike Mihuc is going to speak first as an academic principal at OSIsoft. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Does anybody know what an academic principal is? Let me try to explain it. OSIsoft is a software company that probably only 1 or 2 people in the room heard about. But what I do, I donate software to universities. I travel all over the place, and I put an academic program together. But our software collects and stores process data. So you look at any big process company in Pittsburgh, you can go from, I say, A to W, Alcoa, Bayer, Covestro, Duquesne Light, PPG, all those guys are huge users of our product. So part of what I'd like to do is train students on doing data analytics, to use our software, and help students to get jobs in the community and don't go to California and places like that. So, am I the only person in the room that thinks that's a really bold statement? Big data by starting small, making Pittsburgh the model for a smart city. Let me explain that. I think it's important to calibrate you. So, for about 5-6 years for now, I've been working with Grant and the mayor of Pittsburgh, and they explained very clearly what they wanted to do. They also explained very clearly they had no money. And it fits well. I donate software. I'm not looking for money, basically. So what we did, we got introduced to the Hillman Foundation, and Henry Hillman wanted to give Carnegie Mellon a few $1 million to do 40 little projects. And one of the small projects is we worked on with the City of Pittsburgh to collect process data from 5 buildings, basically, okay? So a memorandum of understanding was put together between Carnegie Mellon, City of Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh, and Carnegie Mellon. And so we started doing these small projects, basically. And we knew what the purpose was. We knew what they wanted to do. So we moved on. But turns out the White House heard about this. And the White House thought it was a great idea. So the White House gave Carnegie Mellon, I think, another $1 million. And so we really want to model exactly what you guys are doing in the City of Pittsburgh. We think that's really great. So have you heard of Metro 21 or Traffic 21? That's how it started. So the White House got a hold of it. They said, we want to change this. We want to call it Metro Lab. And we want to start rolling this out across the country, the model that the City of Pittsburgh really put together. So right now, it's 39 cities and 54 universities doing exactly what we did in Pittsburgh. So that's why I think this is the way to get started. Start small, and I have a project. And do I have a clicker? Okay. Okay. You want to drive? Good drive. Sure. Okay. So basically, when you think of big data, you think lots of data. My acronym is LOD, lots of data, not necessarily big data. Okay. So OSIsoft collects the process data from all over the place, stores it, do analytics, visualize it, and send it on to whoever you want to do. We don't do any work. We just donate software. So I had to find somebody to do some work. So that was Carnegie Mellon. So Carnegie Mellon did all the work. I provided the software, and we came up with the project, basically. Boom. Okay. Now, what this is, besides Sanjay in the back, how many guys know what an ISO is, which is an independent system operator for the grid? And this is PJM's control room. PJM Control Room, basically, I did a count. There's 100 monitors. There's 9 people in there, and they control the grid. What that means is they tell the generators how to generate and what to generate, and they make sure the voltage isn't dropping. They make sure the frequency isn't dropping. So I call this, and there's over somewhere in order of magnitude, 2.5, 3 million points of information here. So I call that LOD, lots of data. Because if this was really big data, you wouldn't need all this CRTs. You won't need 9 people 24/7 watching the state of the grid, basically. So my term for this is lots of data. Some people can think, well, this could be big data. Well, it can be, but it's not big data just yet, okay? Okay. So some people think of big data in terms of the 4 V's, which is volume, velocity, variety, and veracity. I like to add the 4th V, which is value. You don't set out to do any of these projects unless there's something you want to solve. So you have to start small. Just use what you have. Don't invest money in lots of software or lots of sensors. Just start with what you got. Try to put that together, okay? Then come up, what do you think the value proposition is? And then you come up what you think the ROI is at the end of it. And then you come up with basically lessons learned. And from that, you develop a smart plan to go bigger, okay? So, but the whole thing here is you need government grants, you need foundations, you need private people to help fund this upfront stuff to prove the ROI, okay? And so if you go to Wikipedia, there's 2 kind of definitions of big data. The first one is you have so much data, there's no way you can manage it. And the other one says the quantity of the data is really not that important. It's basically what predictive analytics you're going to do, what value you're getting out of it, and you want to change the user behavior. So that's what we did with the City of Pittsburgh. So I'm going to let Grant tell the story because he's a lot closer than I am.
Right. Thanks, Mike. So as Mike was talking, I realized a couple of things that we all have in common, and just thinking about our story and our engagement with Microsoft. One is that both Mike and I have a funny title. So I don't know how many folks here know what a Chief Resilience Officer is. So I'm going to start there. And then the second thing I want to make a commercial too is the way that I met Mike was that he told me that he sells Pi. So Pi is the product that OSIsoft offers. And I said, well, I like Pi, so this guy got to be pretty much all right. So that's how we first got together here. So my role in the City of Pittsburgh is I serve as the Chief Resilience Officer. And effectively what that means is that my job is to both identify, analyze, and mitigate risk. So the concept of the position was created by the Rockefeller Foundation and their 100 Resilient Cities program. So we, the City of Pittsburgh, are a part of the 100 Resilient Cities network, which is 100 cities around the world who are effectively redesigning what it means to manage urban systems. And those urban systems, cities all around the world, are being faced with 3 fundamental issues or challenges. The issues of climate change, of globalization, and urbanization. And the issue of data plays a fundamental role in how urban centers can address both the identification and the mitigation of risk. And cities provide the foundational organizational structure from which to do that. So over the course of the last 2 years, a lot of my role in the City of Pittsburgh has been to identify projects that help collect and connect different systems that allow us to mitigate risk in terms of what are shocks and stresses that we face. Shocks being negative immediate impacts, think a hurricane or an earthquake. Stresses being long-standing generational challenges like generational poverty or inequity, or it could be stresses to long-standing problems like aging and decaying infrastructure. And that's where this project comes in. So in starting to analyze our platform of facilities, and I should say a little bit too about sustainability in the City of Pittsburgh, is that we look at sustainability both in terms of internal sustainability or our operations as an organization. We're a 3,000-person mid-sized company that has 300 facilities, 1,000 fleet vehicles. So much like a lot of your companies, we have systems that we have to manage that are imperative to our operations. However, there's another component to that, which is the external aspects of sustainability, which is really thinking about how do we manage the city as a whole, or kind of infrastructure systems, water, air quality, major things that as a local government, we have the ways in which to influence those decisions given capital spend, management of policies, and administration of things like land use and zoning. So what you see here is a picture of 5 facilities that are part of our 300 facility footprint. And when I came to the City of Pittsburgh, one of the things that I was asked by my then director was, what are your KPIs? And I said, what are my KPIs? What are my KPIs? And I had to go look up what a KPI was. So found Wikipedia, like Mike, and I see key performance indicator. I'm like, oh, I get it. And then I said, well, what are my KPIs? So I started to look, and I didn't have an answer to her question. And one of the reasons why I didn't have an answer to my question was that performance management, particularly in the area of sustainability, did not exist in the City of Pittsburgh. So I didn't have any data from which to base any of my key performance indicators and decisions on. So when I found out the partnership that could be the potential with a company like OSIsoft and Carnegie Mellon, it was really kind of a fortunate meeting where we came together and I was discussing my problems around, 1, what the hell is a KPI, and 2, what are my KPIs? And we settled in on a project here that you see, which is basically looking at how we manage energy and utility information. So in sustainability, one of the key things that we're interested in understanding is energy consumption, both in terms of electricity, natural gas, steam, and that's very important to our bottom line. It's very important to understand also things like thermal comfort and consumption practices for our 3,000 employees in our facilities. So I said, this is great. Let's go manage and understand where our information is in terms of utility data within our city systems. I thought this was going to be an easy row to hoe. It was not. Our initial concept was basically connecting data sources from these 5 facilities that are located across the city, and we would be able to pull 15-minute increment data on every piece of energy consumption in these facilities using building automation systems, blah, 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 blah. And we couldn't do it. And the reason why we couldn't do it is that what we did not have was the fundamental understandings of what was required to build a foundation to create the big data. Some of those facilities that you see there didn't even have internet connectivity. Some of them had building automation systems, but the software packages weren't activated. So there's a host of kind of system failures that existed where the very fundamentals of connecting data and getting me my grand dream of an intelligent energy dashboard. I thought this would be fabulous. I told the mayor about this, and he said, no, no, no. People will want to see it. People will make fun of us. I said, that's the point. We want people to see it. We want people to identify where the problems are. We want people to complain to us so that we can make change. And that's one of the fundamental lessons that I wanted to share with you all, is that it really starts with people and understanding these systems. Now, the big problems that we understood from a technical standpoint was the confluence of three key activities, which I think most people in this audience are very well versed in. Is that right now in our society, and this is particularly true in the municipal market, is that there is a confluence of systems. Energy systems, transportation systems, and the underlying ICT network. And it's at any given point in history where you have the confluence of those three systems that brings together an opportunity for a major impact in the economy. Because you have the opportunity to have this explosion of data. You have the opportunity to change the way that you're thinking, and primarily with that, you have the opportunity to change business practices. So back to our little map here, what we started to understand is that we can't provide that underlying system in a timely manner for all 5 of those facilities. And we can't even do it fundamentally with the flagship building, the city-county building. So what we've focused on is 1 floor in the city-county building, going back to Mike's point about starting small. We went to the 6th floor of the city-county building, which is, I jokingly say, and I'm partially serious, it's the smartest floor in the city. And that's not because my office is located there, which it is. But it's because we've been able to first talk to our core customers, my colleagues, the people that sit around me, to understand what their needs and concerns are, particularly around their comfort level, around consumption practices, why lights are on, why lights are off, is it hot, is it cold? And what we've been able to do within the 6th floor of the city-county building is understand the business challenge first of how we monitor and measure, but also improve kind of the product, if you will, or the environment for our key customers, which in this case is our employees. We've identified a series of technical solutions that allows us to align both that underlying fabric of our ICT network with energy consumption practices. And now we're starting to see the results and benefits. Primarily, how do we operate systems like HVAC? How do we engage not just the building automation systems, but building engineers to change the behavior? And that is really kind of fundamental for us, because this little project, we've been able to leverage that into bigger thinking all across the city. So these lessons learned across these 5 facilities and this 6th floor of the city-county building really became the foundation for what became the City of Pittsburgh's application to the United States Department of Transportation's Smart Cities Challenge, where we took these lessons learned across those 5 floors, and now we're starting to think about what that means to the greater community. How can we start to leverage ICT networks throughout the city to change our street lighting practices, to change energy consumption and generation practices, and change behavior with regards to mobility trends? So again, connecting those 3 network solutions to find out how we can improve the services and the day-to-day lives of residents in and around the city of Pittsburgh each and every day. And what's really great about that, Mike talked about our partnership with Metro Lab, is that people are taking note. Now, people are asking us these questions that we were asking other folks 3 years ago about how do we connect these buildings. They're asking us how do we can connect in our city. And that's really kind of the exciting piece and place where we're in here in the city of Pittsburgh. So with that, I'll close. I'm really excited, and thanks for Mike and OSI and the Pittsburgh Technology Center. We really look for you guys as being key partners for all the things that we do in the city of Pittsburgh. And we're happy to share other and additional lessons with you all and leverage your expertise so we can become a truly smart city in the future. So thank you.
If we have a minute, I'd make just a quick closing comment. Want to advance one slide? Sure. Okay. This was not Grant and me. This was a team or community event. Basically, we had people from CMU, we had Thomas helping us with CMU, and we all collaborated and worked together. So the way I phrase that, there's not one software company out there that can do it all. There's not one company out there that can do it all. They all need to work together as a team, but we got to start with what our purpose is and what we want to solve. Okay, thank you.